Welcome everyone, Costin here on Serious Gaming, continuing my campaign planning for Total War Rome 2. Macedon, Epirus, Athens and Sparta, the four Greek factions. I'll start with the easiest, which is Macedon, and then Epirus, Athens and Sparta. Yes, I do think Sparta is the hardest faction to play as from the Greek factions. In fact, I think Sparta is the hardest faction to play as from all of the factions, all of the playable factions inside the game. Anyway, Macedon. You start in control over Pella and the Macedonia province, as well as the Palpadeva settlement in the sanctuary, with the sanctuary of the great gods Wonder next to it. You're at war with Tellus, who controlled the Amphia settlement and the provincial capital of the Thracia province. Take your armies, take out Tellus. Pure and simple, you might have to reinforce them a bit, but take out Tellus. That's the first thing, that's the first order of business. Ignore Epirus, ignore Athens, ignore Sparta. Take out Tellus as fast as possible. Once you've done that, move your armies and take out the these names, Tribali faction, who control Nisus, and they have lead production there as well. Once you have Nisus, move your armies north, take out the Odrysia faction, and take control of Odysseus. Try and not provoke either Illyria or Dacia, because your next step will be to take out Epirus. Once you've taken control over Thracia, move your army south and take out Larissa. You could move over in Apollonia and let the Spartans and Athenians deal with the defenders of Larissa, but what you want to do is take Larissa for yourself because you want to take control over the entirety of the Macedonian province. Then take Apollonia, you'll get olive oil production and wine production, and you'll have eliminated Epirus. Don't eliminate Athens or Sparta. You know, they have good units to complement your own. As Macedon, you do have the great Macedonian phalanx, but historically they didn't have good cavalry at this time period. You know, someone like, say, Pontus or the Seleucids or Parthia, you know, they or the Ptolemaic Egyptians, they did have good cavalry besides the phalanx. They also had war elephants and side chariots. You don't have that. Your cavalry is probably not going to be that powerful, and the only thing you really can rely on are your phalanxes. Sparta and Athens can complement your army, as well as your navy. Your navy historically for Macedon was not all that powerful. Anyway, so leave the Spartans and the Athenians as they were. Or maybe, you know, maybe you'll want to help one eliminate the other. Maybe you want to convince Athens to go to war against Sparta and eliminate Sparta, and then convince Athens to take Crete for themselves. Depends on what you want. You know, Spartans have good ground units, but really they don't even have a port in their starting province. So, you know, maybe giving the entirety of the Hellas province to one of these two factions would be a better idea in the long run, especially if that faction is Athens, because, you know, their fleet will be a great boom to yours. Either way, Crete, take it for yourself, help one of your allies to take it. Once you've done that, one way or another, take Rhodes. Once you've taken Rhodes, declare war on Pergamon. Take Pergamon and then stop. Like, just stop. Don't move further east. To the east lies the Seleucid Empire and Pontus as well. Well, specifically to the east lie client states of the Seleucid Empire, as well as Pontus and its ally of Nicomedia. You don't want to end up in a war with these guys. Really, Pontus is pretty tough. The Seleucid Empire, while it's certainly fragmented, you just don't want to end up in a war in Asia or Cilicia, because that's their home base, that's their turf. That's, you know, you're very close to Antioch. You end up in a war with the Seleucids, that close to their home base, you're gonna have a hell of a fucking time dealing with them. The Seleucids have a lot of territory. They're not a faction you deal with lightly. So ignore them for a moment. Once you've taken Pergamon and Rhodes, move your armies in Illyria. Take out Illyria, and then do what you want to do. Personally, I take Pannonia, Dacia, And then, I decide whether or not I want to move against Rome or I want to move against the Seleucids. Or, you might, if you're ballsy enough, you might want to do both. Though first I would take out Pontus and Bithynia at Pontus province. Take out Pontus. And then take on the entirety of the Seleucid Empire as well as its client states, with the help of Athens or Athens and Sparta or just Sparta. Depends on what you did there. Anyway, that's as Macedon. As Epirus, you do start surrounded by factions which are probably going to be very hostile towards you, but you do start two settlements, so I think that's a pretty major advantage. You do start at war with Sparta. First order of business, take out Sparta. Sparta has excellent infantry units, but that's all they have really going for them. You have good cavalry, you have good phalanxes, you have decent archers, and you might potentially even be able to recruit war elephants later down the line. Certainly not at the start, but later down the line you might be able to recruit war elephants. Either way, take out Sparta as fast as possible. They have marble production, they have Olympia there. Take them out, take Crete, then master your armies in Larissa. Maybe you want to put a general in Apollonia with a few units to defend against potential Macedonian counterattack. Either way, once you have control over Sparta and Crete, Knossos specifically, once you've eliminated the Knossos faction in Crete, take out Athens. Declare war on Athens, siege them, force march on them. Well, not really force march because you can't attack them, but march very quickly on them. You might even attack from from Sparta itself, and because the border, it seems to be very close. You might be able to reach Athens in one turn from the Spartan border. So if you can do that, or if you can reach them in one turn from the Larissa settlement, then do so. Take them out as fast as possible regardless of this. And then deal with Macedon. Take out Pella, take control over the Macedonia province, then take Palpadeva, deal with Tellus, take Thracia, take Illyria, and then, as with Macedonia, do whatever you want to do. It's really up to you. You might expand. You might reenact or try and reenact Pyrrhus of Epirus and take out Rome. You might want to try and do that. Though, Pyrrhus did die by this point, if I'm not mistaken, and he did fail against Rome. So you might be a bit wary of taking on Rome, especially if by this point they've taken out the Etruscans. Though you might want to stop them before they become too powerful. Anyway, you have a lot of options here. You can move towards the north, deal with the Dacians. You can move towards the east, deal with the Seleucids. And Pontus, move to the west and deal with Rome. It's really up to you. Okay, the two harder factions, Athens and Sparta. Well, Athens starts in a better position than Sparta. Yes, they are a client state, but they do have a provincial capital, so that's a siegeable settlement, and they also have a strong navy, and they're not at war with anyone, so, they have options. What I do as Athens, take my fleet, take Crete out. Fast as possible, take Crete out. Then take Pergamon out. Let the Spartans and Epirus fight each other for the time being. Once that is all done, mass your armies and wipe out Sparta. Take control over the Hellas province. And then you'll end up in a war with Macedonia, because they'll very likely not like the fact that you've eliminated Sparta, their ally. If that happens, then move your navy. You do have one of the most powerful navies in the game. Move your navy, deal with the Macedonian navy, take out Pella for yourself. Take out Palpadeva. If you don't end up in a war with Epirus by this point, take both Macedonian provinces, maybe 3 if Macedonia has eliminated Tellus. Take their provinces, then march your armies and trap Epirus in a vice, eliminate them, and you'll have control over Macedonia and Hellas. Then, You can take Illyria, you can take Thracia, you can take Dacia. You know, it's really all up to you. You don't have very good, strong ground forces, but you do have an excellent navy. Make use of that. You know, you might move a navy into the Black Sea, the modern-day Black Sea, Pontus, Euxinus. You know, maybe take out Crimea, or modern-day Crimea, also known as Bosporus in Total War Rome too. You might take out Scythia if you so desire. You know, you might be able to move an army all the way to Scythia if you take the Ponto-Caspia province, then move in Scythia. You know, you have choices really. Or you might send an expedition all the way to Sicily, take out Syracuse, establish a foothold in the Italian peninsula. Because of that navy, you do have more flexibility than other factions. Obviously, every faction has a navy, but you do have a good one. So, you know, you might be able to make use of that. Finally, Sparta, the mighty Spartans. Well, they start off in the hardest starting position of every faction in the game. Their provincial capital is Athens. They have a settlement with no walls. They do have marble production. They do have Olympia, but they're not really in a good starting position from any perspective. And really, the only thing they have going for them is their tough their tough infantry units. That's all they really have going for them. So as Sparta, you're kind of fucked one way or another. You know, you don't have a port, by the way. You don't have a trading port. You'll need to capture one either from Epirus or Athens, or I don't know, maybe you want to take Crete first. Personally, what I do, take my armies, march on Larissa. Wipe out Larissa from the face of the earth. Probably reinforce those armies somewhat, then march on Larissa, then, you know, replenish those armies and march on Apollonia. Once Epirus is eliminated, the next step it will be to take Crete, take out Knossos, you know, send an army there. You should be able to do so. You don't need a fleet. You know, the troops will automatically transform themselves into transport ships, and yeah, you'll be able to reach Crete in no time. Once Crete is eliminated, take out Pergamon. Try and maintain friendly relations with the Athenians and Macedonians. Take out Pergamon, and then mass your armies in Larissa. Strike at Athens. You know, depends on what's closer. If you know, if the border between the Sparta settlement and the Athenian settlement is, you know, closer. You know, if it takes less time to reach Athens from Sparta, then do so. If it takes less time from Larissa, then go from Larissa. Either way, take out Athens. Take it out in 1-2 turns max. The Macedonians are going to surely counterattack against you. But because you have Crete, because you have Pergamon, you will have a good income, and you'll be able to deal with the Macedonians. Once you've dealt their counterattack, or if there is no counterattack, take out Pella. Move in their territory and take out Pella. Then move to take out Palpadeva and eliminate the Macedonian factions. And then, you know, Thracia, Illyria, then do whatever the hell you want. Dacia, Pannonia, Pontus. You might send an army via the sea into Ponto-Caspia, or Bosporus. You might take on the mighty Pontus or the mighty Seleucid Empire, or you might march on Rome itself. As Sparta, you might land your forces in Brundisium to finish the job that Menelaus should have finished at Troy. Wipe out the bloody Romans, the sons of Troy. I'm not sure if historically that's accurate, if the Romans are actually descendant from Troy. You know, there's just too little in the way of historical records for us to know. Though my theory is that it is possible that a number of Trojans might have survived the Trojan War, which we do have a historical basis, which we know almost for certain, I'd say, not entirely. We're not entirely 100% sure, but we do know that there was a war one way or another between Greeks and Trojans. Anyway, some survivors of that war, if Troy was indeed sacked, and you know the events took place as in the Iliad. You know, except the interference by the gods and all of that stuff that's in that poem. Then I think it's possible that some Trojans might have survived and they might have sailed to Italy, where they might have where they would have mixed with the local Latin population and founded Rome. That's something I think is actually possible. Anyway, take our Rome as Sparta. Would be a glorious sight to behold as I see it. The mighty Spartans marching in the eternal city. Anyway, Costin here on Serious Gaming signing out. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you all for watching and stay tuned for more. Next up, Pontus. 3 more videos. Pontus, Egypt, and Parthia.